Hello class, this is Dr. Fenton. In this video, I'd like to show you how to prepare vertical analysis on two of the statements, the income statement and the balance sheet. So this is the same Excel information we downloaded from the Microsoft annual report from the SEC website. That was an earlier video. I have not formatted any of these numbers yet. I'm just going to leave them as is because we really don't need to do that in this video. But we do need to add some columns. So let's add a column right here, insert, and one right here, insert. What we'd like to do is compute percent. So let's type that in, percent, and then let's put it in, oh, let's just copy it. Control C, drop it in here, Control V, and then right here, Control V. All right. In vertical analysis in the income statement, all the income statement numbers will be divided by revenue. So each of these, even itself, will be divided by the revenue amount in cell B3. Now, if you have an income statement that has sales or net sales, I prefer to use net sales as the starting point, as the base, but I guess it's a matter of opinion. You could use total sales. We don't have that here. We just have revenue. So this is going to be equal to this, whatever's in B3, divided by itself. This is going to look a little bit odd at first, but I'll explain more in a minute. In the second B3, this denominator, we want to lock this in. We want to lock this information in of what's in cell B3. So F4 will give us the dollar signs. And so we computed a percent, but you can see it just doesn't look right here. So let's put this down and turn this into a percent. Now let's just take it, drag it. You can see what's happened. Like in this formula, we are dividing whatever is in cell B4 by B3, by this. You want to lock this in as the denominator because every number needs to be divided by revenue. So there it is. It's as simple as that. Do the same thing here. This would be equal to D3 divided by itself. Let's lock that in with F4, enter, and this time I'll drag it down. You can see these are not percents, so let's turn into a percent. There they are. And then one more here, again, equal to F3 divided by F3 itself. Let's lock that in, hit F4, the F4 button, and enter. And there we are. Again, it's not a percent yet, but it will be right now. So those are the percents. And that's all there is to it for the vertical analysis for the income statement. And now you're ready to analyze these percents to see what's changed and by how much. I'll clean this up a little bit. We really don't need the product revenue breakdown. What this is showing you in their income statement is that from product sales, this is the revenue, this is the cost of revenue, cost of goods sold. And they also had service and other revenue, this amount, and then here's the cost of revenue. Add this revenue plus this revenue, that equals the total. They're just showing the breakdown between products. We don't need this, so I'll just delete this. Okay, looks a little better. They do have earnings per share computed for us. And let's keep the average shares outstanding in here. Weighted average was basic and diluted in case we need it later on. So there's the vertical analysis for the income statement. Let's do the same thing for the balance sheet. Click here. Let's enter a column. We only have 2 years to work with here. This will be a percent. And let's just move this over and type the same thing here. Okay. Now, in the balance sheet, everything will be based off total assets. So what we're going to do here is, let's go to the cash. This will be equal to the cash amount, what's in B3, divided by this number, and let's lock this in for the denominator. Let's hit enter. And again, we need to turn these into percents. In fact, it needs to go all the way down. Let me just go do the whole item percent. There we go. Now, grab this and bring it down. And there are the assets for vertical analysis. So instead of starting with the top number and dividing itself like we did in the income statement, here each asset is divided by total assets. Now you can do the same thing over here. This is equal to this number divided by total assets. Lock it in, hit the F4 button, hit enter, and there you go. Let's turn this into a percent. There you go. Click and drag, and that's it. Now, as to the liabilities and stockholders' equity, it's really almost the same thing. We're going to take this number and divide it by total liabilities and stockholders' equity, which really equals total assets. So if you want to do this the quickest way, let's take this and just bring it back on down, double click, and there are the percents. But what are you doing? Let's take a look at the accounts payable. You're dividing accounts payable by total assets, and technically you would divide accounts payable by total liabilities and stockholders' equity, but that's the same number. That's an easy way to do it. We don't need this. Let's just delete that. We don't need these here. Delete. And that's it. So it's showing you the percent of each of these assets or liabilities or equity compared to total assets or total liabilities and stockholders' equity. And that's it. That's vertical analysis. That's all there is to it. And now it's up to you to start interpreting these numbers. So give that a try, and I hope it works well for you. Thanks.